Hey everybody, welcome back to Life in Room 27. I am Miss Robinson and we're back today with another math tutorial video for you guys. Today we're going to deal with lesson 3.1, and in lesson 3.1 we talk about the concept of thousandths. So we've dealt with tenths, we've dealt with hundredths. Today we're going to specifically talk about thousandths. So to give us an idea of what a thousandth is, let's review what we know about our base 10 blocks and what they represent. So the first piece that we've looked at is this. We know that anytime we see this represents a whole. For the purpose of today's lesson and to help us to really hold on to place value positions and what the relationship is between one place value position and another, we're going to know that this is a whole, but we can also think about this as one whole dollar. Everybody really is good with dealing with money. We love talking about money. So for the purpose of this lesson, think of this as $1. So this is a whole / $1 in this particular lesson. The next piece that we're going to look at is this. This is a tenth. And we should know that there are 10 tenths and one whole. And using our money example, we're going to think of this as a dime or 10 cents because there are 10 dimes and one whole dollar. The next piece we're going to look at is this little teeny tiny piece. Hopefully you guys can see it between my fingers. This is a hundredth. And we should know that there are 10 hundredths and 1 tenth. And for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to think of a hundredth as a penny because we know that there are 10 pennies in 1 dime. So just to refresh our memory, this is a whole or $1 in this example. This is a tenth or 10 cents in this example, and there are 10 tenths and one whole. This is a hundredth. This small piece here is a hundredth. We're going to think of this as a penny because we know that there are 10 pennies and 1 dime or 10 hundredths and 1 tenth. And now let's talk about a thousandth. What is a thousandth? We don't have a piece to represent a thousandth because it would be a super small piece. So if this is a hundredth and we need to figure out what a thousandth is, we need to recognize that a thousandth is this 100 piece broken down into 10 smaller pieces. So just imagine taking this cube, cutting it into 10 pieces, and trying to hold on to that. So it's super small. So in today's lesson, we're really going to focus on the thousandths, and we're going to just make sure we understand what is the relationship of a thousandth to a hundredth, and what is the relationship from a hundredth to a tenth, and what is the relationship from a tenth to a whole. Always keeping that idea of money in mind to kind of help us out along the way. So I'm going to set us up with the whiteboard. I'm going to show you a quick example, and then we're going to be all done. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so here we have problem number 3 from your homework tonight. Problems 1 and 2 we discussed together in class, so those should be taken care of. This is problem 3 that we're going to discuss, and so that one will be done for you, and then you'll use what we talk about here to help you complete problem number 4. So in problems number 3 and 4, you have a chart that's provided for you, and all that they give you to start is this column here where it says decimal, and then they give you decimals that you're going to be working with. In your homework, these sections have not been filled in yet, and let me mark the headers of each column. So this is blank on your homework page, and that is blank on your homework page because that is what you're filling in along the way. So the way to read this chart is you're going to first look at the decimal. So the first decimal in chart number, or the chart for number 3 is 1/10. When you go to the 10 times column, you're going to ask yourself, what is 1/10 10 times as much as? And the answer to that would be 100. So you write the decimal 0 and 100. You're also going to ask yourself, 1/10 is 1/10 of what number? And you should recognize that it is 1/10 of 1 whole, or 1.0. Next one, they show you 9 hundredths. Same thing, you're going to look at 9 hundredths and ask yourself, well, what decimal is 9 hundredths 10 times as much as? And the answer would be 9 thousandths. 9 hundredths is 10 times as much as 9 thousandths. So that's what you're putting there. Then you go back, you're going to look at your 9 hundredths again so that you can complete this column and ask yourself, well, what number is 9 hundredths 1/10 of? And you should realize that 9 hundredths is 1/10 of 9 tenths. So you would write 9 tenths in that column. Next one, we have 4 hundredths. Ask yourself, 400ths is 10 times as much as what decimal? And that would be 4,000ths. So you'd write 4,000ths there. And then 400ths is 1/10 of what number? And you should recognize that it's 1/10 of 4/10ths. And then the very last one they give us is 6/10ths. Ask yourself, 6/10ths is 10 times as much as what number? The answer to that would be 600ths. And then 6/10ths is 1/10 of what number? And that would be 6 wholes or 6.0 or just the number 6, depending on how you want to read it. So this is problem number 3. You're going to do the exact same thing with problem number 4. You're obviously just going to have different decimals here to start, but just make sure to take your time. And I think it's always best to just keep going back to that original number. Figure out what you're putting in this column, then go back and ask yourself, okay, 1/10 is 1/10 of what number, to fill out your last column there, just to kind of keep your thoughts straight. So that's all I really wanted to show you with this particular lesson. It's not a very difficult thing to do, but it can be confusing with the way that they worded the chart and made the chart in comparison to how we talked about it in class earlier today. So I'll be back with just a few closing thoughts. All right, so those were the examples from today's lesson. So the main thing that I want to make sure that you guys understand is just knowing that when they're asking you, what is 10 times as much as this current place value position, you're always going to be looking at the place value to the left when they're asking you for 10 times as much. If they're asking you to name it, if it's 1/10 of, or what is 1/10 of this particular digit in this place value position, you're going to be looking to the right in the next place value position. So 10 times as much, you're going to be going in that direction, or putting your eyes in that direction, looking to the left, to the left, to the left, like Beyonce says. And if they're asking for 1/10 as much, you're looking to the right. So the further right you go, the smaller the value. The further left you go, the higher the value. So just make sure you also keep in mind that 1 whole is 10 times as much as 1/10. 1/10 is 10 times as much as 100th, and 100th is 10 times as much as 1,000th. Also the opposite. 1,000th is 1/10 as much as 100th. 100th is 1/10 times as much as a 10th, and a 10th is 1/10 of a whole. So I hope those tips help you. I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.